What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 3 of the Jay and Dro show, and it just happens to be our E3 prediction show. So it's the third episode, and it's E3. I'm one of your hosts, Jay Lewis, and joining me today is my main man, my dual stick junkie, Pedro Mirabal. What is going on, good sir?
What's up, man? I'd ask you how your weekend was, but it's E3 predictions week. Let's get to it, bruh.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about on this show. We're going to give our predictions. I wanted to give a couple quick shout-outs because there's already some stuff that's starting to make its way onto the surface. Ninja Theory, they went ahead and they put their game out there in the wild. They got a nice trailer showing off their next project, which, now the name's escaping me. What was it called, Pedro? Hell's... Damn. It's the sequel to a franchise.
Heavenly Sword.
Yeah, there you go. Heavenly Sword. Thank you very much for correcting me. God, it escaped me. Whenever I get on mic, sometimes I'm like, my brain just blanks. But yes, sequel to Heavenly Sword. They're doing something really, really unique with Hellblade. There we go. Hellblade. Not Heavenly Sword. So Hellblade. And what they're doing is they want to put mid-tier games back on the map. So what I mean by that is this is a $30 retail game, but it's digital only. So them being able to cut out the middleman means that they can put a full AAA game out for a mid-tier price at $30 a pop, and they're asking for people to pre-order this game so they can start putting some of that money into their next project, and they'll be able to keep that price point at that nice $30 price point, for a full AAA game. They put out a trailer with this. Pedro, did you get a chance to check out this trailer, bro?
Yeah, I actually saw it while watching the Kind of Funny morning show, and it was pretty dope, man. It doesn't look like a game that I would play, but the trailer made me interested into seeing what it's about. Have you played Heavenly Sword just to for contextual purposes? Is this like an action RPG or what is it?
Well, this being a sequel, it might as well not be, because this game is vastly different than the first Heavenly Sword. The first Heavenly Sword was one of those, how many enemies can we get on screen, and you just kind of bash through them, kind of like a Dynasty Warriors almost.
Hey,
and
okay.
So this game definitely doesn't have any of that in it. This looks to me almost more like a survival horror, and I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's the vibe that I got off of the trailer. You see this moment where, the female protagonist is going down like this canal, and there's these hands that are trying to grab her. Almost kind of remind me of like if you were to like go to hell or something like that. It really gave me that type of vibe, and this seems to be like more of like a probably narrative driven, like really dark setting. Definitely nothing like the beat 'em up that the first one was, and I'm definitely more intrigued with this game than was the original Heavenly Sword. I definitely plan on checking it out. And again, this is, they say at the end of the trailer, for you to pre-order, and they only want to make a digital-only version because, again, it cuts out the middleman. So this is them putting their foot down towards a digital future. Now, I don't want to talk too much more about it. I just kind of want to throw that out there. There was also a Sony PlayStation little indie that got announced today. Again, that escapes me, but if you go check out PlayStation's YouTube page, it's on there. It's called like Escapist, I think, and it's a 4-player co-op game where you have to kind of work with your co-op companions to escape these levels. It looked really fun. It looked good for people that are into Twitch and people that like to stream with other people. It looks like it could be a really good time. And then finally, there was one other game that got announced, and it was Rebellion's new game, and it's called, man, that one's escaping me too, but look up Rebellion. Their game has been announced. It looks pretty cool. That's another 4-player co-op game. It's kind of like a Left 4 Dead style, but you're kind of in like a like ancient Egypt, I want to say, because there's all these demigods and stuff like that. So that looks super interesting. But yeah, that's some of the games that have already been discussed. Now, Pedro, let's get this show started. And the first manufacturer I want to talk about is Sony. That's the nearest and dearest to me this generation. That's the one that I'm most well versed in. So are you ready to kick it off, bro?
Yeah, man. Just an FYI, we will be at the Waterford Lakes movie theater doing the PlayStation E3 experience. So if you're local and you're going, hit us up on the Square Gamers Facebook group, and we'd love to meet up with you.
Yeah, shout out to Orlando. I hope to see some of you locals around. All right, so let's get into this. So before we get into our personal predictions, there's a couple of predictions that have been floating around. I've been on a couple threads and I saw a couple of interesting ones that people are throwing around. So one of the first predictions people are throwing out there is like an Infamous collection. So, you know, Infamous 1 and 2, you know, it gets bundled together. Essentially, you know, the original one I would guess would be remastered. I kind of like that rumor. Did you ever play any of the Infamous games or no?
Yeah, I played the entire series, and I'd let you know right now, I'd buy it.
Oh yeah?
Hell yeah, I'd buy that shit in a heartbeat. Problem is, I don't think it's gonna happen, man. Considering the comments on backwards compatibility that Sony came out with earlier this week, I don't. Well, I mean, I guess it's not really doing the whole backwards compatible thing. That's doing more of a remaster.
Yeah, this would be bundled, and the first one would be remastered. But I kind of agree with you that it probably won't happen because the second one is still so new. How do you bundle that like in with the first one, then recharge people for the second one? So I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I just thought it was interesting. The second one I saw was All Stars Round 2. So All Stars is like Sony's version of Super Smash Brothers. And then, you know, all these new IPs that Sony has in its portfolio with like Bloodborne and Horizon. You can have all these new characters introduced. What do you think about that, little one?
Not interested in it. I'd have to see it to see if that'd be something I'd play. But, you know, Nintendo does it better. I'm going to put it that way. Nintendo will do it better. Nintendo did it better when All-Stars 1 came out. Not interested in an All-Stars 2 unless they can, you know, make it all work together. But I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, like you said, Nintendo does it better. You know, if you want to play a Smash type of game, play Smash. The next one I saw that really, this one absolutely 100% has me enticed. I'm a huge PlayStation 2 fan. One of my favorite games back on that console was Crash Team Racing. So everyone's throwing around this idea of a new CTR hitting the PS4. What do you think about a PlayStation version of, like, you know, Mario Kart?
Never played Crash Team Racing, so don't really have an opinion on that. But I'm gonna assume that that's gonna be a huge hit with other people.
Yeah, I mean, with mascot franchises making its way back, you know, Crash Bandicoot, everyone's kind of like been asking for that franchise to return, and it is. You know, it just got that trilogy that's coming out. But yeah, to get a CTR game, you know, remaster, not even remaster, get a full new game for the PS4, revamped from the ground up, would be really dope in my opinion. And this is something that I think Sony could actually do, maybe not better than Nintendo, but, you know, just as good, because Crash Team Racing back in the day, dude, was just as good as any Mario Kart from back in the day. So I saw that one out there. I'm just going to kind of like run through the rest of these. Battlefield Bad Company 3. Bro, are you ready for another Bad Company game, dude?
I mean, that's more of a... well, okay, so E3 is Saturday, so you're saying this would be announced on Saturday then? Or E3. EA is Saturday. So you're saying that this will be announced? Yeah, Bad Company 3. Bad Company 1 and 2 were dope. So Bad Company 3, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, Bad Company 2 is cool, man. Like, I like the little grenade logo they had in it, and that was a super fun game. Like, everyone had to play their roles, and definitely a different feeling with all the other Battlefield games. Like, the Bad Company games are one in themselves, so that was interesting. Of course, there's the one that everyone always wishes for, is the next PlayStation handheld successor. So like the Vita successor, the PSP successor. Everyone's been asking for that. Only way I want it is if they have all the face buttons. Don't give me no weird, funky rear touch, but this is not something we're going to see because PlayStation, they already got the PlayStation Pro, the PS Slim, and the PSVR all launching pretty much within unison of each other, so they're not going to add another, dedicated console that they have to worry about, so I think we can, completely debunk that one. Spyro Remastered, bro. How do you feel like playing another Spyro game? Have you ever played a Spyro game?
Spyro, I haven't. I'm more of a Jack and Daxter dude.
Okay.
But Spyro, I didn't. No.
Yeah, that was something that my wife is actually super into. She played Spyro back in the day. I actually played Spyro back in the day. I think it's one of those things where, nostalgia kind of clouds people's judgment, because I just don't think that a Spyro game could make it in today's market. I could be wrong on that, but it's not something that I hoped for, but I see it come up constantly, so I had to mention that one. Then, bro, how about Rocksteady's new Superman game that's been, I don't know if it's still a rumor at this point or if it's been confirmed. What do you know about that?
Oh, that hasn't been confirmed, and it's a super rumor. I'd play it.
Yeah, I'm actually not that big into Superman in like the movie world, but playing Superman in a video game world where I get to fly around and just pretty much be, bulletproof, that sounds super rad. So we might see that. Here's one that I like, Until Dawn 2, bro. Remember Until Dawn? That was a nice little Sony exclusive gem.
I don't know how you make a second one, considering the first one ended the way it did. It would have to be a whole new story, but
I was going to tell you, from what I saw, people talking about this one, and I like the idea, make it sort of like a Chronicles type of deal where every new story is just a completely new world, new lore, new characters, has nothing to do with the game before it. It just holds that title. So I kind of like the idea of that. Until Dawn was a really special game, man, and me and my wife would sit down and take turns playing, and we were really both into the world and the characters. Like, super awesome game, and I would love to see the sequel to that. I kind of feel like it's a little soon. Maybe they need to roll that out maybe next October, because they had that Until Dawn PSVR game that came out, so I'm sure they spent some of their assets and their crew on that. So maybe next year. And then that's pretty much wraps up all the things that I've seen online. So I guess it's time to get into our predictions. So Pedro, why don't you hit me with your first Sony PlayStation prediction for E3 2017?
So I think God of War opens the show again. We'll probably see an 8 to 10 minute gameplay trailer, new stuff. Maybe new mechanics, shed some more light into how the father-son duo, will go ahead and like how they interact and stuff like that. At the end, they'll have a release date, and I think it'll be early 2018, around the same time Horizon Zero Dawn was out. I'd be surprised if it was 2017. But I mean, they may need they may feel like they need to have a game as big as that to compete with the Scorpio release.
Is that not the game that they opened with last year? Because they had the orchestra. Yeah.
No,
okay.
yeah.
So they had the. Okay, so you think that they could do that again this year, and people wouldn't be salty at it opening with the same exact game?
Fuck no. As long as they have unique gameplay footage, and this time they end the gameplay footage with a release date, hell yeah, bro.
Okay, I like that idea because you bring in the orchestra again, you really set the tone. I like that idea a lot. I mean, it worked for him last year. It really just as soon as they rolled out with that orchestra and they introduced that game, it was just balls to the walls from that moment forward. So I really like that prediction. We'll see if that happens. My first prediction, bro, I was actually going to go with the Crash Team Racing game, and then I was just going to kind of add that it was going to have some type of VR support, perhaps let you drive the racer, the cart around in first-person view in the VR world. But instead of doing that, I wanted to say that I think they might open on Destiny 2, bro. They've spent a lot of money kind of keeping that game on their console and letting them be the ones to talk about it on stage. You know, the Destiny community on consoles, that's probably the biggest community that there is. To me, it only makes sense for them to bring the Bungie crew out on stage because I mean, they're one of the best developers in the game, bro. I can't think of a single developer that's better than Bungie. You know, you could argue maybe Naughty Dog, but I would say that Bungie, you know, they make the best shooter there is. We'll say that. So you open up, you bring Bungie out, they show off some new gameplay footage that you haven't seen before. Maybe show off your new multiplayer mode that you haven't talked about yet. And then just kind of just show us, you know, more. Let us delve deeper into the world. And I think that would be a super clutch way of opening the show. You know, the whole orchestra thing. I mean, look at the Destiny soundtrack, bro. Like, you could open up with some of that Destiny style of music, and you know, already set this nice little tone up. So, what do you think about them opening on Destiny 2?
So, I agree with everything you said. Destiny 2 will definitely have a prominent place in the presentation. It needs to have, you know, either beginning or somewhere along the middle where, you know, after you've announced a couple of other first party game, or towards the end where I have it. I have it as the mic drop moment. You bombard the senses with game after game after game after game after game after game, and then at the end you close. This is prediction number 2 for me, by the way. You close it with Destiny 2, and then what do you announce right before the end? Destiny 2 special PS4 Pro special Destiny 2 edition. Includes Destiny 2 in the box. Special Destiny 2 designed PS4 Pro. Available, holiday 2017.
Oh, so you're saying have a PS4 bundle that has like Destiny artwork on the exterior of the console?
Yeah, just like they had it for the first one where it was white.
Right, but now we're gonna get the pro version of that, bro. That's not a bad idea, actually. The first one had that white aesthetic to it. So, do they bring that white aesthetic back, or do we bring it a new color for the pro?
I'd keep the white aesthetic, man. I think that the white sold relatively well. Everybody seemed to like it. Either that or go silver. I don't think I'd continue going black with it, but I'd keep going with the white aesthetic. And I mean, what a better way to drop the mic and let everybody know, look at all these dope games you're gonna get. Oh, and this is probably gonna be, one of the biggest games on our console. And since I know many of you are upgrading to 4K, how about you play it on a PS4 Pro for, at Christmas with Destiny 2?
Yeah, for sure. I like that, bro. I like that a lot. My second prediction, that was your second prediction, right? Yep. Okay, I thought so. I wanted to just make sure. All right, my second is Days Gone out this October. So we get a full Days Gone reveal. We see a little bit more of the story aspect of the game. We see some interaction between the main characters and this biker gang. And then at the very end of it, they give an October release date. I originally put this game around August. I figured this, could have been a cool summer game. But then when I started seeing, some games move around, and most importantly, when Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption game got kind of kicked to next year, I'm like, this is a perfect time to put out a zombie game in October. Everyone's thinking, Halloween, and they're thinking zombies. So you put a dope-ass zombie game out right around October. What's your thoughts on that?
Great minds think alike. I think Days Gone is going to get a nice... I would think it would go God of War... Actually, I think they follow the same formula as last year. Go God of War, follow that up with Days Gone. I don't agree with you with the release. I don't think that this game will come out this year. But that leads me into prediction number 3 for me. And I believe the Days Gone...
some Gran Turismo coming up?
Oh, no. God, I was going to do a Gran Turismo one, but I was like, I feel like Gran Turismo is releasing this year, though. I'm going to go with, and I'm continuing with the Days Gone theory here, because this is what prediction number 3 is. Prediction number 3, Days Gone, fully playable in VR. As a result of the VR gameplay that they had to, develop, it will get a summer of 2018 release. 2018.
2018 release? Oh, okay. So you think it's going to sneak into next year and it's going to be fully playable in VR?
Yeah.
You don't think this title's a little too ambitious for VR?
I mean, I thought that Resident Evil was very ambitious for VR, but Resident Evil was able to pull it off, and that's what makes me think that I think that Sony needs a AAA first-party title to throw into VR. Why not let it be Days Gone?
Yeah. The only hole that I see in this is that normally, like when you're in VR and you're going to play a shooter, I think like right now the only way that they figure out how to do a shooter in VR is in first-person view, and Days Gone is fully in third-person view. So that's a hole that I see there. It doesn't mean that it won't happen, but if I had to wager, I would think that this has zero VR support. And then with it coming from SOE, I don't think that they've been dabbling too much in VR. I could be wrong again, though, so we'll have to wait and see on that. I'm super pumped for Days Gone. I think it looks awesome. It has everything that I love. Zombies. It has a biker gang. I'm big into Sons of Anarchy. I'm fully on board. But this isn't my most hype zombie game coming out of E3, but we'll talk about that a little later, I'm sure. My third and final Sony prediction, except for our wild card. You got a wild card, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My final prediction is we will see The Last of Us 2 reveal, and basically it's going to be a 3 to 4 minute cinematic trailer that just kind of looks deep into the setting of The Last of Us, and there'll be some type of interaction between Ellie and Joel, and it'll kind of pan out, and then we will have a release window. And I think that's the way that they will close the show. We know that Kojima's game is not going to be there. Death Stranding will not be there. I originally thought that's what they might close on, but now that they've already announced that it's not going to be there, some people are speculating that it is going to be there. They're just trying to throw a curveball. I actually think that it's not going to be there. I think that they're smart and they realize, okay, let's kind of put the handcuffs on Kojima and let him stop talking about his game, because it probably won't even make it out this gen, bro. That might be like a PS5 launch title. So I think they're going to end on The Last of Us 2. And again, it's going to be full cinematic. There will be no in-game play footage. And again, it's just going to be this conversation between Joel and Ellie. You'll kind of get to see like what that world is going to look like. And then, like I said, boom, it'll just kind of fade out. We'll get a release window. And I think that release window will be fall of next year. What do you think of that prediction?
I mean, that's a great mic drop moment. I'm not gonna lie. That'd be something that everyone will just leave. We would leave the theater going, "Wow, we just saw the perfect E3 presentation."
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that I don't think it'd be smart to end the presentation with a game that's coming out next year. You gotta have something coming out this year that people can look forward to and salivate towards, later on this year in the next few months. Which leads me to my crazy prediction, to the wild card, as you call it. And my wild card is Spider-Man gets a 2017 release.
Ooh.
And it becomes the marquee game of the year.
Is that going to be a winter release for you? Is that going to be like the big holiday hit for Sony?
Yeah, that'll be the big November hit for Sony. That'll be the game that will drive PS4 Pro sales. Yeah,
I 100% agree. Like, I had it as an honorable mention, like the Spider-Man game down here, and like that's the game, bro, that's Sony's juggernaut. I don't know if it's going to be out this year. That's why I didn't really mention it, because I feel like that might do better next summer maybe, but yeah, man, if that game came out this holiday season, that's the game that everybody is going to have their eye on. So I love that prediction. And if I'm not mistaken, the Spider-Man movie's this summer, correct?
Yep.
Okay, that further just kind of encompasses like that prediction. I love that prediction now. If you're right about that, bro, that's fucking huge for Sony.
Yeah, I mean, that would arguably make my decision of getting a Scorpio and upgrading the PS4 a much more difficult decision than it should be, because that Spider-Man game looks super dope.
Yeah, it really does. The only reason I think it's a little further out is because we've barely seen the game. We've only seen that one trailer that we saw at E3 last year, but that doesn't mean anything. Maybe they're just a smart, development team that is like, hey, let's not show too much. Let's just, leave this small, tiny breadcrumb trail, and then let's just put this thing out in the wild. And, yeah, I love that prediction, bro, and I hope you're right about that, because I'd love to play it this November. My wild card, bro, and this might be a little bit of a stretch, but that's why it's a wild card. No Man's Sky is fully playable in VR. Why do I think that this is, this could happen? Because this is the type of game that it had to choose this huge promise, and then it didn't really pan out for Sony. It immediately was like getting bashed, the Metacritic score, it got tore up. People were saying that, this is an indie game and it was turned into a AAA title and it never should have been. The $60 price point, it just, Sony was asking too much, but through a lot of patches and free updates, the game is more in line with what a AAA game looks like. It still isn't there, but the way that you bring it there and the way that you sell VR units is by telling people, hey, you can play No Man's Sky and you can go explore outer space and go from planet to planet in your ship, and you can do the whole entire thing in VR. Bro, that fucking blows my mind. Like, I don't think No Man's Sky is a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It's a great game. Was it worth the $60 that they asked for? No. But if you make that game fully playable in VR, is it then worth the $60 they originally asked for? Yes, absolutely it is. And this is the perfect type of game for VR. What experiences are good in VR? Experiences where you are exploring, where you're in first person, you're flying around these ships. Like, this game was just fucking made for it, and I really hope that gets announced. What do you think about that? I bet you didn't expect me to pick that.
I didn't expect you to pick that. I also am still thinking, why would you pick a game that leaves such a bad taste in the consumer's mouth to say, hey guys, our big VR title is that game you guys had so much hope for last year and ended up hating. It's back and in VR. And everyone's like, oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I get that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I for you, yeah, I guess it works, but like for the let's think about the regular consumer who was on the outside looking in on the No Man's Sky debacle. Do you really think that they want to take the risk and spend the $60 to then play it in VR? I don't. I just I feel like it's a possibility that it comes to VR and that it'll be part of a sizzle reel. I don't think that it'll be something that Sony will trot out and be like, hey guys, we know we fucked up with No Man's Sky console edition, but this VR edition though, fire. You should buy it.
Yeah. Well, and then what I was thinking too is what you do there is you make it completely free. So if you purchase VR, you get this game absolutely free because this is the game that you want people trying your tech out with. This is the game that kind of solidifies why you play VR because essentially it's a game that has endless amounts of entertainment because you can just keep going deeper and deeper into the solar system, exploring all these new planets. It's a game that it has that pick up and play ability because they say that VR is best suited in small play session. So you hop on for 30 minutes or 2 hours, somewhere in between there. You go explore some new planet and then you hop off, bro. I just feel like it should be a VR game. And if this happened, bro, like I'd probably be one of the only persons to forecast that because I don't see anybody else saying that. But again, that's why it's a wild card. But yes, if you don't have anything else to kind of wrap up the Sony E3 predictions, I'm done as well.
Yep.
Okay. One more shout out, Bloodborne 2. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something there. I don't want to say really too much about it, but I kind of expect it to be there in some capacity, even if they just tease it. But moving on, it is time for the Microsoft E3 2017 predictions. Pedro, what is your first Microsoft prediction, good sir?
I'm pretty sure everybody or anybody who is interested in E3 will probably say the same thing that I'm about to say. Scorpio leads it off. They get the elephant in the room. They show off the new logo. They've done all of the teraflops this, frame rate that already. People just want to see the console. They want to know the price and when it releases. I think it's priced at $499, and I think it releases October 10th, which is a Tuesday, I believe. A lot of people say, I've read that it might release on October 13th, which is Friday the 13th, which is a terrible date to to release a console. So I think they do it in the same week, just on New Release Tuesday, which is not really New Release Tuesday anymore. It's New Release Friday, but they make it New Release Tuesday for old time's sake.
Yeah, I really like that prediction. The only thing that I'm going to do, because obviously my prediction is the same, that they're going to open with the Scorpio. The way they're going to show this is they are going to show some breathtaking, gameplay. We're going to see, the likes of Crackdown. We're going to see State of Decay 2 playing on it. We're going to see, what's the pirate game? Sea of Thieves. We're going to see some Forza gameplay footage. And that's how they're going to start it. And then once you've seen game, they're going to take to the stage. They're going to release the price, which is going to be $499. I completely agree with that, because anything else... Do we need to remind anyone of the fucking Sony PS3 $599? Like, yeah, don't do that. It needs to be $499. It's going to be $499. At this point, I can almost guarantee it. After you've seen that awesome gameplay footage, you got the price. We're going to get the launch date Everybody is saying October. I think you're all fucking wrong. Some are even saying November, and really crazy people are saying December. You're all wrong. It's going to be September 8th. Why? Because that's when Destiny 2 comes out. They're going to put this console out with Destiny 2 because they're going to try to win gamers over. Again, I talked about that community earlier. They're going to want to get people playing Destiny 2 on this console. It's the most superior console on the market, and the way that you automatically get some of these, some of these gamers and you win them over is you have the most supreme console on the market that can do 60 frames per second, 4K resolution. That's how people are going to want to play Destiny 2. Then the Xbox wins over that crowd. They get, Bungie kind of back in their corner because Bungie was their biggest ally and their biggest asset last generation. If you can get Bungie back in your good graces, man, like, you just have to try to do everything you can. I agree that originally this was probably slated for an October date, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed it earlier to see if they can get it out right around Destiny 2. What do you think about that?
Okay, so there's a couple things about your prediction that I disagree with. The first one is you want to get the console out of the way so then the games have a chance to stand on their own merit. If if you're watching video of Cuphead looking dope, of Sea of Thieves looking dope, of State of Decay looking amazing, of Shadow of War looking better than it would on a PlayStation Pro, of Crackdown looking tremendous, mind-blowing, and then you're still in the back of your head, you're thinking, damn, all these games are great, but how much is this console going to cost? It just that but is going to be there, and then you're just going to wait until the end, and then you're going to be like, okay, so did all the games that I just see justify this price tag? Whereas if you start in the beginning and say, hey, look, it's $4.99, that's the original price of the Xbox One with the Kinect. This is how we're going to justify the price, by letting you play these games with this frame rate and this graphical fidelity. And then they just go game. What? I think it's 90 minutes. I think they spend 20 minutes on the Scorpio, just kind of showing off how much it costs, what it'll do, remind everybody. And I think this reminder, and this ties into your second part of your prediction, the release date. Remind everybody, this is not its own console. This is part of the Xbox One family. So if you buy an Xbox One game, it's going to work with your Scorpio, which means we don't have to do something special like release it when Destiny 2 comes out. There's no need for that because you can already buy the Xbox One version and just play it on the Scorpio when it comes out a few weeks later. So I think that's what they're going to go with. I don't see a reason why they want to go head-to-head with Sony's biggest third-party game and try to sway people to go to Microsoft, especially when Bungie themselves aren't advertising that they're even on the Xbox One, because everything that it shows is that it's basically a PlayStation game at marketing wise. So that to me, I would see issues if they were catering to a game that's not catering to them. So that's why I think October 10th would be the release date. And before I get to number 2, I'll let you rebut anything that I've said so far.
No, those are all really great points. One of the other reasons that I thought that a September release date made more sense to me is because what it allows you to do is it allows you to get the word of mouth out there. If you have this truly awesome console and it gets in the hands of a few people and they start telling everyone like, man, this controller's super tight, these visuals are really good, like even if you don't have a 4K television, like just just being able to, be able to control it with this awesome controller and, these super dope games that are coming out for it, you get that hype generating. And then right around, Black Friday time, you bundle it in with a game maybe, like maybe that's what your Black Friday deal is you bundle it with, one of these AAA titles that you got, coming out. So that was kind of what my line of thinking was. But for my second prediction, I predict that we're going to get a full State of Decay 2 reveal. They've been pretty quiet on this game, and I feel like this is their kind of ace up the hole. This is their game that's kind of a little bit different than, the Xbox that people are used to. Yes, there was a State of Decay, but the second one is so much more, and and I know this game is so close to me, and I have so much invested into this game, but being able to play online with friends and grow communities and, all the resources are scarce. This is the perfect type of game that you want to have out on your Xbox console. Like, we've seen very few visuals, but the ones we have, the game looks extremely good. Like, super good. So I think we're going to get a full reveal, and we're going to get a release date. I put the release date for that game sometime around October, which may be more in line with your kind of release date. Maybe this will be a launch title for them. So yeah, that's my second pick. What do you think about that?
That's a strong launch title, to be honest with you, man. A well done State of Decay 2. That's strong right there. That's a great idea. When I was doing my predictions, I didn't think of State of Decay 2. Maybe because it's just not my game and it's not, up my alley. But that would add to a very strong title. I like that addition to the lineup because alongside, and we'll get to mine right now. Alongside a third-party title such as Shadow of War, which was supposed to come out in August, but was delayed until October 10th, which is where I think the Scorpio is going to come out. I think Shadow of War will be their marquee third-party game, just like Destiny 2 is, Sony's marquee third-party game. I think we're going to see the same thing with Shadow of War. I think we'll see an extensive demo, gameplay demo on the floor for them. I think that they're going to say game's going to run smoother. It's going to run, at a 60 frame per second consistently. Graphically, it's going to look better than it did on the Pro. You combine, your State of Decay coming out in October. You combine a Shadow of War coming out, and you're looking at a strong launch lineup for the Scorpio, which I think is what they're going to have to come out with if they want to, survive this holiday season, because we've already spoken about how strong PlayStation's gone.
Yeah. I mean, this is the year that PlayStation should come full circle, and a lot of their big titles start making it out, because the big on-running joke for Sony last year, and it was pretty well true, is that they didn't have barely any exclusives come out at all. They were winning this race without putting out too many exclusives. What you're seeing this year is all those exclusives starting to come out. I mean, we saw it in the first quarter alone, and they still got plenty of exclusives that are going to start rolling out this year. This is going to be Sony's best year, but at the same time, once all these big games have made it out, what do they have in store for the future? This is where Xbox could really come in and just kill it and be like, we have this exclusive coming, that exclusive coming, that one. We need to see the exclusives come for Xbox, and every analyst is saying the same thing. What games do they have? What's coming? Some people are, hitting that franchise fatigue. Maybe they don't want to see Master Chief for a little while. Maybe they don't want another Gears of War. We just had a Gears of War game, but, I think people are ready to start seeing some new games make it onto the Xbox, console. me being one of them. And like State of Decay 2 is that type of game that it's 4-player co-op. Again, it's this open world. There's 3 different maps. They all range in vegetation and what the atmosphere looks like. And it's just a bunch of people building a community together and trying to survive. So I really think that Xbox, man, if they do this right, they don't do what they did when they originally launched the Xbox One. You want to be games first and foremost, and you don't want to have any funky kind of messaging. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to recreate the wheel. Like, just give the gamers what they want, which is software. That's what's going to sell your console. I hope we see a lot of freaking new exclusives. But did you give your second prediction yet, or you were still in your
Shadow
first
of War.
one? Shadow of War was your second. I thought so. So you think Shadow of War is going to have the Xbox branding on it? I completely agree. I think that's maybe why the date got pushed a little bit. Maybe they want to get it out in that late September, early October launch window. We'll see which one of us ends up being right about that. Troy Baker, is he not the voice actor again? That's correct, right? Yeah. Troy Baker's the voice actor, so you can bet the voice acting is going to be great, which lends itself really good to the lore of that game. That game kind of lives and dies by the lore. I think the story's really good. So I love that second prediction. What is your final prediction for the Scorpio?
So this is a very Scorpio-based prediction for me, at least. And I went with the price, and then I told you that what they were going to do is they're going to go, okay, we're going to announce the price, and then we're going to show you the games that are going to justify the $500 price tag. So then, I went with their big third-party game, which is Shadow of War, for my second prediction. My third prediction is their overall launch lineup, right? So if Microsoft says, okay, this $4.99 we know is expensive, let's show you these games that are going to come out, at launch or in the launch window, which we'll call the launch window 30 days. So within October to the beginning of November, we're going to get this high quality game, right? I'm thinking they're going to include a new Forza, Sea of Thieves, Cuphead, and Crackdown will be their marquee November title. So imagine State of Decay, Forza, Sea of Thieves, Cuphead, Shadow of War hitting the third party title, Crackdown, alongside your sports games, your Maddens, your FIFAs, your Call of Duties, your Battlefields. The launch lineup is going to look really, really good, in my opinion.
Yeah. 100%. Like I said, just the State of Decay 2 alone. I mean, if they do hit that $4.99 price point, for me, that's a console seller. Like, I'll gladly spend $500 for that. So, 100%, and that is a really strong launch lineup. And bro, like, you didn't even mention like any hidden IP that's there. You have to assume that there is some hidden IP there. There's got to be at least one, right? And I think it's going to be some type of.
I think there's a couple hidden IP that we'll see there, but I think that Microsoft has had a lot of buns in the oven, just like PlayStation, just like Sony has. And when we hear people say where are the exclusives, hey, they've been cooking too. Problem is, Microsoft made the mistake of announcing them 3 years ago, so people forget that these games exist. But this is going to be a pretty heavy first party launch lineup with a really heavy hitter in terms of their third party key game, and I think this could be one of the best launch lineups in recent history.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. I think that it is Microsoft's show to steal, and that's pretty much all I'm gonna say. I didn't actually have a third prediction, as I was kind of telling you before. I haven't really been, that big into Microsoft this generation, being the casual gamer that I am. But what I did do for my third prediction instead is that I was on this forum, one of my favorite forums, and they had like a little poll going that says, will you consider purchasing a Scorpio? And I kept an eye on it until it hit about 48 votes. So 35 votes came in at no, and 13% came at yes. So what do you think about those pretty drastic difference in numbers? Like 35 people saying no and 13 saying yes, bro. That seems to be very heavy no. Do you think that Microsoft will win over those no's, or do you think people will kind of wait and see if this is a console that's going to make it and stick around?
I mean, you probably had that. Well, you probably had that same amount of negativity for the Switch. There was, a lot of people are going to take the wait and see approach. A lot of people are going to say no, but they're saying no before Microsoft kind of tells them, what you'll get for your money. And I doubt with Phil Spencer at the helm that you're not going to get a complete presentation where they show you the price and then they justify the price by giving you, like you said, the software that you need to be able to make that investment worth it to you. And again, I mean, you hit a launch lineup like what I said, you'll see those numbers change, guaranteed.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think people are being real salty right now. They got burned by, the Xbox brand so far this generation. I think it's pretty safe to say that, instead of releasing games, they've canceled quite a bit of it. So right now, gamers are a little salty. So maybe that's why we're seeing those numbers. But like you said, they need to get back into the goodwill of the gamer. And I think that if they can do that and they don't muddy the freaking message this E3 like they did the last E3, I really think they could steal the show. And you're like me. At the end of the day, I just want great games and I want great consoles. There's no fanboyism between either one of us. We've always just kind of gone where the games are, and so I kind of hope that they can freaking steal the show. One thing that we didn't mention that I just kind of want you to briefly touch on, you think they're going to do anything with Minecraft? I mean, they bought that for a pretty penny.
I'd be shocked if Minecraft 2 comes out. I don't think it will. I think that this is... I don't think this is the one that you want to release Minecraft 2. Not in this E3, man. I think this E3 is going to be focused more on adult games and games that are going to help sell the console that you have at the moment. I just don't think that Minecraft is going to be that one. They just released it on the Switch a month ago, I think, or a couple weeks ago. I think that they're pretty happy with what's going on there.
But we can't sleep on all these kids out there that are still in love with Minecraft. And if you announce a pure sequel to that game and it's exclusive to the Xbox brand, bro, so many kids will be begging their parents for a Scorpio come this holiday season. But, I kind of agree with what you're saying, but that would be a fun little wild card if they did do that. So, yep, that was it for the Microsoft console. Now it's time to go with the last manufacturer, and that is Nintendo. And we're going to be talking about the Switch a bit, I have a feeling. So what is your first prediction on Nintendo?
Well, I mean, the presentation looks like it's going to be pretty short, be about 30 minutes, according to rumors that I've read. In that 30-minute presentation, I feel like they'll have at least 10 minutes worth of sizzle reel, showing off the games that are coming for onto the from the virtual console onto the Switch. I think that they'll talk about the virtual console releasing in October. And that'll allow you to play, the Metroid collection and your older Marios and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I didn't even necessarily put 3 picks on this one because, like you said, it's only 30 minutes long, so I don't think we're going to get any major announcements. I think there will be one big announcement, and that big announcement will be a new Metroid game. Like, that's the game that everyone's been asking for, and I think Nintendo's been doing a better job at listening to what the gamers want. I think that's what they're going to close on, and I think we're going to see something very interesting in this Metroid game. I think it's going to go open world. It's something Nintendo might need, is a nice little open world game to show that they have some variety and they're not just platforming and they're not this or just that. A nice open world Metroid game would do wonders for that Nintendo Switch. And then I expect to see a new Super Smash Brother, not a new, a remastered Super Smash Brothers game. I think that Nintendo is going to have to rely on remastering some of their already, IP to kind of like, sell some consoles until they can get some third-party support. And then I think we're going to see quite a few dope little indie games get announced because the Switch, as it should be, as an indie machine. That's what made the Vita last so long, is because there were so many great little indie games that made its way onto the console, and the Switch is probably the best place to play these cool little indie games on that, 7-inch screen. So what do you think about that?
I think you're right on. I don't think the Metro. When did you say Metro was going to be announced and released?
I didn't give a release date. Just sometime this year. I think that's going to be their holiday marquee. So let's call it November-ish.
You think Metroid will be not Mario?
Yeah. No, I think Mario is going to get pushed. I honestly think Mario is going to get pushed into maybe first quarter next year.
Okay. I've got Metroid being announced as well, but I think it's going to be a spring 2018 game. I do like the idea of it being open world. I also agree with you on the Super Smash Bros. Port for Wii U. I think that will be available in August. And then I think that they announce, application support for the Switch, man. I think that we'll finally get, Twitch support, maybe YouTube support. And I think, that'd be it, just to be able to stream games and things like that off of the Switch itself. I think that's what we'll get from that. I don't think that we'll see anything that's going to make us want to run and buy a Switch, though. I don't think that is what this Treehouse presentation is going to do.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier in the year about how, for us to consider the Switch purchase, that we needed to see them come out at E3 and really just own E3. But from the sounds of it, this 30-minute presentation, they can't fit huge announcements into it. And I really kind of feel like that this Metroid announcement could be a pipe dream and more of like a wild card. And, I still am not sold on the Switch entirely, dude. Like, so many people are having, their consoles break on them, they're bending, and then there's just not much to play on it. This is happening exactly how we thought it was going to happen. People got Zelda. Zelda was amazing, but then once Zelda was over, they got all these stupid little distractions. Nothing that's going to sell a console by any stretch of the imagination. And now we're learning that here we are at E3 again, and Nintendo doesn't want to take E3 serious, and they don't want to make big announcements. Why? Because they don't have any big announcements, and this is why I will continue to not buy a Switch. I've already looked past their direction. I'm looking more towards PSVR, assuming that they have a good conference. If they do not, then you better believe your boy's looking at that Scorpio, and I'm not looking twice. Right now, the Scorpio has my money unless it proves me wrong, simply because I really want to play that State of Decay 2 game. One thing I will say to get back to Nintendo is that the wild card that I had for them, because I did have an actual wild card, is so back on the Wii U there was this game called Zombie U, and it had this really cool mechanic where If you died as a character, then that was the end of that character's story, and that you would spawn as a new character. So it was like a permadeath system, and it had some really interesting things that it did with the tablet, and it was such a remarkable game that got overlooked because nobody liked the Wii U. Well, there was all these rumors going around that the sequel was already in production, and it was like pretty well into production, but they were holding on to it until more people bought the Wii U. Well, guess what? Nobody ended up buying the Wii U. So it says to me that they were so deep into production, why not just take what you got and put it over on the Switch and just build upon what you already had there. So I think that this could be a great game for them to launch this October to get the more hardcore, horror type of fan onto their console, because right now it's a lot of kid games, which, hey, here we go, that's Nintendo yet again. But I think this could be a more mature game for a mature audience. What do you think of that pick?
Zombie U came out for the PlayStation and Xbox under a different name, I thought, too, right?
Yeah, they just called it Zombie, no Zombie U.
Okay. So, I mean, it's possible that it'll come out as Zombie 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Which, I mean, everyone said the mechanics are super cool, but I don't think it translated very well to the traditional console. So maybe it'll do better with the Switch and kind of what they're doing with their Joy-Con controllers and stuff.
Yeah, I think that you don't even call it a sequel because, not enough people played the first one. What you do is you just make this a new game. Like, you call it something completely different. And, PlayStation, they have their big zombie game with Days Gone. You have the Xbox that has their big zombie game with, State of Decay 2. And then Nintendo, boom, they could come in here and catch a lot of people off guard. No one would expect something like this. And then, boom, they got their zombie game as well. And, as much as people like to bitch about too many zombies in video games, at the end of the day, it's a good mechanic and it makes for great storytelling. And, in the video game universe, it just freaking works. So I just had to throw that in there as a wild card. I could be wrong, but it'd be super dope if I was right on that one, because boy, is that a stretch. But yeah, that's it for Nintendo, bro. So now that we've given all our predictions, who do you think wins the show, Pedro?
I think Microsoft wins it. It's theirs to lose. They're coming out with a new console. They've got the games they've got the momentum because everybody has a generally good feeling about the console because of what they saw technically and what it can do. Now they just got to show it. And I think if they do show it, I think that they have every opportunity to win the hearts and minds of gamers back. They're going to have a tough time with Sony. I think Sony stays the course and does what they have to do and continues to show us games for the console that hundreds of millions of people have, so over 100 million people have. So I think I think Microsoft does it though. I think earlier this year with the Nintendo Switch release, Nintendo won back the hearts and minds of gamers. I think that trend continues with Microsoft winning the hearts and minds of the hardcore gamers. With this Switch release. Not Switch release. Scorpio release. Sorry.
Yeah, Scorpio release. Yeah, I got you. I would say that my heart says Xbox, but my brain tells me that PlayStation is just going to knock it out of the park. This is going to be them hitting their 3 for 3, and then they're going to just have this amazing E3, and then they'll probably suck next year. But I think this is when they're really going to come into their own, and I really think that PlayStation's going to take it. I do hope that kind of Xbox comes in and steals the rug from under them. But again, I think that's just my heart thinking. I always like to root for the underdog, and I think we both kind of had the same sentiment that Nintendo is going to continue to do what Nintendo does. I mean, their console's selling good, but I really think that once people see this E3 and be like, oh wow, we've all been blinded by Zelda, do you think that's a pretty safe way of putting it, Pedro?
Oh yeah, I mean Zelda is so far, like it's just so far in the past when it comes to gaming that there really isn't anything for us to look forward to from Nintendo. I think that all their big games are earlier in the year, and I think it's time for Sony and Microsoft to capitalize towards the end of the year, which I think they're going to do.
Yep, absolutely. Before we bring this thing home, is there anything you'd like to add to this episode, bro?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. These are our predictions, sure to go wrong. So we'll see what goes on. Saturday is the EA press conference. Sunday has Microsoft. Monday morning is Nintendo. Monday night, again, we will be at the Waterford Lakes movie theater watching the Sony E3 experience. And that'll round out all of the big press conferences. I think we're missing Ubisoft. The Ubisoft thing is afternoon on Monday. But we'll be over at the Waterford Lakes movie theater. Catch us if you're there.
Yeah, for sure. And back to the Ubisoft thing, yeah, we'll probably see some Assassin's Creed. We're probably going to get to see a little bit more of Far Cry 5, so that should be good. But you said everything perfectly. Make sure you follow us on in our Facebook group, everyone. We have some awesome conversations over there. Facebook.com/thesquaregamers. And just keep it locked right here for all things video games and for weekly podcasts. And again, we thank you for joining you, and we will see you next week on the Jay and Dro Show. Later.
Peace.